That's what I'm saying. Either that or actually the brake line that's steel is actually better to use. Copper will transfer more heat, but the steel, you're guaranteed you're not going to have a problem with your with your fuel, especially the higher pressure systems, the 70 to 90 tons pressure. Yeah.
What's the optimal temperature of the gas?
Optimal temperature, they say 340 degrees at 70 pounds pressure. Okay, that's optimal. A lot of people cringe when I say that number, but that's what they say is optimal. I never try to even think of going over 300 degrees, just in case there is a lag in your pressure in your system. But if you're going to 200, you know you're totally within your safety range. Okay, at 200, if there's no pressure in your system, then you will have expansion, but you're not going to have much expansion. Okay. Any other questions on that?
Your magnets are inside your
Right now they are, but the like my magnets can basically take like 180 degrees, and so we're noticing after pulling out the magnets, their magnetic ability is dramatically decreased after just a couple of months. So you're better off if you're going to have a system like this. Let's say you have on one of these, you would run your magnets prior to your hose. Okay, so that the fuel, the cold fuel is going through your magnets, and then it's going into your fuel heater.
How about an electromagnet?
Electromagnet, I am, we have so much heat loss, and we have so much thing, and the more things we put on draw on the engine, what does that do? Steals power. So that's why we first looked at electromagnets and we said, do we want to take another 3 amps away from this poor car that's already sucking down any energy? So that's why I use magnets, permanent magnets. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so now we've used xylene in the gas tank. We've used a fuel heater to be able to help out our systems. Okay. Now what is that doing? That's not really doing anything for the performance of the engine. The xylene does help, a couple of percent. The fuel heater helps a couple of percent. But added together, okay, this is what, where, 1 and 1 becomes 5. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Okay, it doesn't always have to be, 1 plus 1 is 2, right? But 2 times 2, right, is 4. We're looking for times. We're not looking for plus. Okay, so what we're trying to do is remember, we're back to the hydrocarbon chain. We're trying to break the chain down to be able to get it short enough to be able to burn in the engine instead of burning in the catalytic converter. Okay, now why do I call it a catalytic converter? Because it is. It was put on the car specifically to be able to hide that they're raping you for gas. Okay, that's why it was put on there. It was to burn gasoline that they weren't burning in the engine that was used to be going out the tailpipe. Well, hello. Why is it going out the tailpipe? It's supposed to be burning in the engine. Anybody ever figure that out? We're wasting gasoline because they're making a hydrocarbon chain too big to fit in the engine. Okay? That's like me saying, all right, I'm going to build a fuel cell box to go in a trunk, and it's 8 feet long. Not going to sell many of them. You know what I'm saying? So let's look at the things that we can do. And these are all simple things. I'm doing these things, the simple things, and can I install them on your vehicles? Yes, I can. But I'm going to charge you, so just understand. Have these ideas, and if you have ideas, you want to bounce them off me or whatever, there's a lot of people that have a tremendous amount of knowledge here, okay? If you talk to a person for an hour and they tell you one thing that gives you an idea, that's the best couple hours you'll ever spend, okay? I say eat the meat, spit out the bones, okay? There's going to be bones, and there's no bones about it, that there's going to be people that totally disagree with me. Anyone in the room that totally disagrees with me? Probably half, okay? That's okay. It doesn't bother me. People ask me, well, are you offended that I disagree with you? I'm like, listen, I just came from Russia, where we had 50 broken windows in our house, and they tore a 30-foot cross off the top of my building. There is nothing you can offend me with. Okay, we're missionary church planters in Siberia. Okay, so understand that you're not going to offend me. So, but I'm also going to give ideas and opinions that sometimes are contrary to what conventional people think. Okay, we also have to build more safety into our units, and that's one of the things that I'm a real fanatic on. Yeah.
Well, one thing that's often overlooked, since you're burning that fuel more efficiently, you're going to create less emissions.
Absolutely. We should be able to cut our emissions by half. Okay? And the more, and that's the other thing is that the fuel, when you start getting more efficient with your engine and burning more of your hydrocarbons in your engine, you're putting less heat into your catalytic converter, and so it's not going through your whole system. And you know what I'm saying is, and the only thing is I've had codes come up that my efficiency of my catalytic converter has gone down. Good. That means I'm doing something right. Okay? It's because there's not enough gasoline going into the catalytic converter to be able to keep the temperature up, and that the downstream O2 sensor is reading too much oxygen. That's really what's happening. How I can explain why it gives me that code. But, and the easiest thing to do is, people talk about the spacers, and we talk about the spark plug spacers on the sensors. Okay, some vehicles it works on. I'm not saying it works on all vehicles, but I've had good results on the O2 sensors taking Ford spark plug spacers. You know, for anti-fouling spacers, you can get them in auto parts stores. Okay, sometimes you have to match them up to your O2 sensor. If the hole is too small on the end of the spacer, you have to drill it out to allow the O2 sensor to stick out through it. But what it does is it gets it out of the stream of the exhaust. Everybody understand what I'm saying by that? Okay, all you're doing is taking the sensor that's sticking way in the exhaust and getting all times of reading the oxygen and pulling it halfway out so it reads less oxygen. Okay, it's an easy way to really cut down on coding. That you know, and it also helps it to read you know, less oxygen. Less oxygen means it's burning more efficiently. If it has a lot of oxygen in the exhaust system, what that's telling the computer is that you're running too lean, okay? You're running too lean, so it gives you more gasoline, okay? So if, now we are producing HHO, right? We're not producing hydrogen, we're producing hydrogen and oxygen. Well, the car companies in their ultimate wisdom have created the system that measures oxygen. So this is why some cars you put hydrogen on and you actually get worse gas mileage. That's why. Because the sensors are reading this huge amount. Remember, we only have 1/3 of oxygen in the air. Okay? So 2/3 of the air that goes into an engine isn't burnt. It's kicked right out the other end. Nitrogen and argon and the other elements in the air. Okay? So we're only burning oxidizing the oxygen. Oxygen doesn't burn, it oxidizes whatever sits around. Okay? So when you have that inside the system and it comes through the system, the sensors pick that up and say, whoa, way too much oxygen, throw gasoline at it. Has anybody ever put on their unit and actually get worse gas mileage?